Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm really glad and excited to share my idea on what is our next vault after the COVID-19. But before I start the presentation, well, I think there's something wrong about this, but okay, let's just keep on this. What is the new normal? Before the COVID-19, the new normal was the word that is indicating the massive change in our economic system. But due to its impact and its effects of the COVID-19, the new normal's term differs a lot in the present. Because after the COVID-19, the new normal indicates the massive change that is due to COVID-19. Because of COVID-19, our life changed really a lot because now we have to wear our masks and now we have to distance each other like what you guys doing. But because of COVID-19, I think we are forgetting about something that is really important. And as a reminder to that, I'll be presenting water and sanitation problem today, which was UN SDG 6. So we already know how important water is to our body because our body consists of water. So if there is 1 to 3% of water lacking in our body, we feel raging thirst to refill the water. But if we are lacking 5% of water, then we just fall into coma. And if we are lacking in 12% of water, then we just die because we are lacking in water. But where is our water? In the structure of the cells, in cytoplasms, in our cell. As maximum as 80% of our cell is filled with water. And also in blood vessels, about 55% of them is filled with water in form of plasma. But there's still people who have to drink dirty water because they are suffering from water scarcity problem. And what I mean by dirty water here is the mixture of water and the pathogens. What will happen if we drink dirty water? It is highly likely to cause us the waterborne diseases that is due to COVID, that is not due to COVID-19, but due to the pathogens that is in the water. So I came up with new solution for water scarcity problem, and that was to use seawater. Because seawater takes 97% of whole water body on globe. And also, most countries have their coastlines, so they have direct access to seawater. But only problem here is that seawater is taking lots of salt and lots of bacteria. So it have to be purified before we drink it. But surprisingly, we already have those technologies called evaporation method, reverse osmosis, and freezing method. But why don't we use it? Because it costs a lot. And it is hard to be maintained in countries where they are lacking in lack of water. And that is why I came up with the new filter. And actually that is the filter called Biosan Filter, which was already invented by Dr. David Mentz. And Biosan Filter was invented for purifying river water into clean, drinkable water. And the Biosan Filter consists of 3 layers, which is the gravel layer, sand layer, and the bio layer that is consists of river's microbes. And the key of Biosan Filter here is the bio layer's microbes and sand layer's slow filtration. So in purification process, the microbes in bio layer of the Biosan Filter catches and kill the bacteria that is in the river water. And due to the slow filtration in the thick sand layer, the rest of the bacteria that are not caught or killed by the microbes in the bio layer will be just trapped in there. But as everything has some difficulties and disadvantages, the Biosan Filter has also some difficulties with solving those problems. First was that it has too slow speed of filtration. So due to the thick layer of the sand, the filtration speed was too low. And the second problem was that it was not useful countries where they don't have the rivers because it is using rivers microbes in bio layer to purify the river's water. So it is quite useless in island cluster countries or island countries where they don't have rivers at all. And that is why I came up with a new solution called activated charcoal. So activated charcoal is quite unique material that can absorb salt, chemicals, and salt. And when you look at the surface of the activated charcoal, it has lots and lots of micropores. And when it is in microscale, the number of micropores and the surface area determines the ability of absorption of small chemicals like salt. But there were some problems with the activate charcoal too, because activate charcoal on its own cannot filter out viruses and bacteria. And that is why we still need the layers of sand and gravels from Biosan Filter. And as a result, I integrated activate charcoal and Biosan Filter like what you're seeing at the right side. So I'll be putting on activate charcoal on the layer of the sand of the Biosan Filter. And we will reduce the thickness of the fine sand here because it is too much. It is decreasing too much of the speed of filtration. And at the last, our new filter inherits both advantages from activate charcoal, but also from Biosan Filter. Now we can purify river water, but also the sea water that is full of salt and bacteria. Now we can provide seawater to people who is suffering from suffering from lack of water. The key of my presentation here is not only a suggestion for water scarcity problem, but also the importance of cooperation. Because of the cooperation between activated charcoal and Biosan Filter, we could filter the seawater into clean drinkable water. And as like that, we can cooperate with each other to solve those problems. There were still many countries who were suffering from many problems like this, and we've forgotten about them for like 2 years. But in our new normals, it shouldn't be full of ignorance, but full of cooperations. And with cooperations, I think and I hope we can change those problems into a positive way. So as a conclusion, I think our next vote for the new normal will be our cooperation. Thank you for listening.